Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to laugh out loud? Well, hold on to your hats, because here's our MC for the first half, Allison, Dahl!
Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining tonight. A sea of hats. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. Whoever had the Krispy Kreme idea, this is a very exciting crowd to look out on. Very lovely and wonderful. If you couldn't tell by the attire of those in the audience today, this is our Bring Back Hats show. Very fun, very cool. And during this show, we have lots of lovely hats over here that the improvisers can use throughout the, a Discover Card Jester hat. I didn't know that existed. That's beautiful. Well, anyways, throughout the course of this show, our improvisers, as they feel they must, they'll head over and maybe use some of those hats as we go throughout the various scenes we'll do. I wanted to ask before we get started, though, will you give me a cheer if you have seen us perform before here at Improv? That's beautiful. And then give me a cheer if it's your first time. Yeah. Oh, there. I feel like you're smaller in number, but you're more excited and ready. That is so... Actually, maybe that's a bad sign, but anyways, for those of you who have not, who aren't as familiar with improv, improv is a kind of different from some kind of like sketch comedy or stand-up comedy shows because instead of having a script or an outline, we make up everything on the spot based on suggestions from you guys, the audience. So maybe to practice that a little bit, let's split the audience down in half, maybe around here, and maybe this half of the audience, could you shout out, who's a famous person that wears a hat?
Batman.
Batman? I guess technically Batman wears a hat. I feel like I always thought of it as part of it, because isn't it connected to his suit? Anyway, sorry, that's not the point of this exercise. Over on this side, maybe shout out a location you might wear a hat.
The beach.
Birthday party.
The shower.
Very good, very good. Krispy Kreme, perhaps, and Krispy Kremes. The shower? Like a shower cap?
No.
I feel like I'm igniting one of those, like, is a Pop-Tart a sandwich debates? we won't dive into that. Is a shower cap hat, but wonderful. But I am so excited for all of you to be here tonight. I have a little bit of a confession, a little bit of a secret for you guys. I went down and emceed a show in San Diego last weekend, and thank you, and I told them that they were my favorite audience. It's not true. I like laugh out loud audiences better. But you can tell the Californians. So give yourselves a big ol' hand. I would also ask that you give an even bigger hand for our lovely players who will now come to the front. First off, give him a top hat because his jokes are magic. It's Davin. His favorite hat is his thinking cap is Andrew Haviland. Brimming with energy is Kade Haviland. He's got talent, but unlike a hat, he doesn't move his head. It's Robert Betten. All of the hat does he's the top is Logan. And finally, please tip all your hats to our last player of the night, it's Bryce. Beautiful. How are you guys doing? I suspect you might overheat, Robert. I'm a little nervous.
I'll swap it out.
It's like Alaskan grade hat you got going on there. That's great. Beautiful. Well, do we want to see you do some improv? Then I'm going to need all my players to the front for the game of first line, last line. Woo! Beautiful. This is a nice, simple, quick game. We're going to see a series of scenes. And the last line of each scene will become the first line of the next scene. So we'll get suggestions for this first scene, but then past that, they just have to keep reusing the last line as the first line, and so on down the line. Let's get maybe, what is an object that would fit inside a hat?
A duck.
Ooh, egg. I like egg. Players, your suggestion is egg. Are you ready?
Yes. Yes. You mind explaining this to me? 3 of these eggs are correct.
Look, you said I was cracked at Minecraft, and I wanted to show you I can crack other things too. Dad, I'm just trying to make you proud.
I know, it's a good point. Just wasn't prepared for it.
So you're saying we have a chance?
So you're saying we have a chance.
So you're saying you have a chance?
I don't know if a chance is what I'd call it.
That's what I heard.
I'd call it a certainty. Oh, Logan. I was messing around. It was just whatever.
So was I.
So was I.
So was I. But I was on the other side of the war.
You're right. We should put our differences aside.
You forgive so quickly. I misjudged you, friend.
That was easier than I expected.
That was easier than I expected.
That was easier than I expected. $1,000 from a single phone call. What a fool. Oh, speaker's still on.
Hey, don't you get back on the phone. What was that? I heard that.
Sorry, the person you're trying to reach has a voicemail box that is not set up.
No, I know that's you. Wait a second, I'm tracking this call.
No!
No.
The 444 is gone from when?
I truly do consider the loss of the 444 a national tragedy, personally. It was a sad time for us all. So let's move right on past that to our next game, which is Revolving Doors, for which I need Robert, Bryce, Kade, and Andrew, players to the front! New hat time. Orange. Excellent, excellent. You can get your expo markers ready if you'd like, because in the game of Revolving Doors, we're going to see just a regular, typical scene game, but the catch is that, each player will be assigned a word that might be said in the scene, and anytime this word is said in the scene, the person either has to enter the scene or exit the scene, right? So let's first get, what's like a basic noun you might use for maybe this area of the audience?
Wow, Indiana.
Orange. I'll take, this isn't a noun by any means, but I'll take wow. Wow. Oh, Bryce has got it. Okay, maybe over here, let's get a real noun this time. I heard edge, which is a noun. Maybe a little more abstract, but we'll give Andrew the word edge. How about, what's a verb? Give me a verb from the front. I'll take run. And then finally, from this back part over here, give me like a multisyllabic word. Multisyllabic means there's more than one syllable. Sorry. Ooh, injection for sure. That's excellent. All right, review for us really quick your words.
Injection, edge,
Run!
wow!
Beautiful, so when those words are said, they'll have to enter or exit the scene. And let's get one last suggestion. Tell me a location you've been to recently. Yeah, Grandma's house. Players, are you ready?
Yes!
Oh, Sonny, thanks for coming to give me my shots today.
Do not worry, madam. This won't hurt a bit.
I liked it better when my grandson gave me injections. My grandson? Where is he? Oh!
This is a typical response of the elderly to pain. My studies are not complete. Why did he run? Why did she run?
Grandma!
Did she run from you?
Grandmama!
Did she run from me?
Grandma!
Sonny, I can hear your voice.
Isn't it the day you're supposed to get your injections?
Yes, Sonny, but it wasn't. There you are. You're pretending to be my grandson.
You look nothing like me. There's no way we could be the same person, let alone related.
You're a sick man. All I have to say to you is, wow. Just
Yes,
wow.
I'll do it. Experimental
Wow.
I have the second batch too.
Don't tell them about the medication I swapped.
You go running tests on us?
Well, yes, COVID test is precisely. That's the double daily injection.
How could you run a test like that on an old woman like me?
The injection specifically.
I think
Yeah, you better run.
I feel like that's right.
The fumes of the medication must have gotten to me.
That really gives them an edge.
Oh, yes. Well, it's getting to me, too.
Ooh, injections.
Somebody sing your song 'cause you've been singing in the city. You know too many troubles, all these lovers got you losing control.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for your assistance. When our players get a lapse in mind, the little really goes a long way. So that was quite helpful, quite helpful. Let's move right along now. This next game comes from a genre of film that often has silly little hats, so that's why I wanted to put it in the show this time. It's the game of film noir, for which I need Davin and Logan, players to the front! I guess I could swap out my hat, it's been a while. Yeah, this feels right. Okay, in the game of film noir, we'll be having these two players act out. It does not fit well. Film noir type scene. Think of those old movies, old black and white movies where there's detectives and seduction and mysteries, things like that. We're going to see one of these. Well, it doesn't have to be seduction. You already had your moment.
You're saying it could be seduction.
It could be. I'll leave the option open to you. And for this game of film noir, sorry, we're gonna get the title for this film that we're gonna watch, and it will be in the form of adjective noun. So I'm testing your part of speech knowledge again. In the back, what's an adjective you like? Ooh, did you say silenced? Silenced. That's good. And then from the more front half, what's an object that's you wouldn't typically describe as silenced? Ooh, give me more. Ooh, I'll take it. The silenced crown. The silenced crown. It's intriguing. All right, players, are you ready for the game of film noir with the suggestion of the silenced crown?
Yes.
There was trouble afoot in both houses, the lords and the commons. You see, the throne, as everybody knew it, was just a figurehead. It wasn't a position of real power. And old Charles, for the last 6 months, he'd been spreading dirt all over my name, sullying my legacy. It was a little short of defamation. But then you see, just the other day, old Charles himself, he turns up dead in his own living room. Now I hadn't the faintest idea how a thing like this could have happened, seeing as he was protected at all hours of the night. But then again, I wasn't expecting the visitor that would come in next. Come on in, it's open. Wasn't expecting you this time of the evening, Your Majesty.
Yes, nobody ever expects me. I'm here to talk about Charles.
Charles, you say. What about Charles?
You see, Charles owed someone money. some gold and real estate.
The national debt.
You know your economics.
Of course I do. That's my prerogative to know my economics. Well, anyway, I don't see what I could possibly do about all that debt old Charles had.
I knew this man. I knew that every time he told a lie, he would tip his hat on the other side of his head. That's how I knew he was lying now.
I tell you, I've never even heard of this Charles. As far as I know, he was as liquid as any man's ever been.
That's just what he wanted you to think.
Oh, is it? Is it? I could tell I was getting away with murder right now. She had no idea. You see, it was me who killed Charles, but Her Majesty would never find that out. What with my cat-like lying abilities.
I'll have you know that some real estate was traced back to this estate.
To this estate, you see.
The real estate.
You're right, I do have the realest estate this side of the channel.
More especially now that Charles is dead. You now own all the land on this side of the river.
She was right. It was a clever scheme I had set up, using a convoluted series of real estate agents who all fed into each other. Well, I don't know how that could possibly tie into old Charles's death.
Where are my manners? Drink the flask.
This was a classic trick. Her Majesty would always give you a flask to drink when she had something up her sleeve. But then again, she didn't have any sleeves.
I quite like the concept of like a nation's debt being the personal debt of the leader. Like I just think that a lot more problems would be solved quicker. Maybe our budget would be a little more balanced if that was the case. Beautiful. Well, I'm gonna switch hats.
The Discover Jester.
Oh, I thought I would be more comfortable than the last one, but it's like a child's Discover card, 100-year anniversary. So, but you know, I think it'll work. I think it'll be good. All right, well, next up we have a lovely guessing game for you all. This is the game of 3 things. I need Robert, Davin, and Kade. Players to the front! And I would like one of them to please leave. Bye, Davin! And he's gonna close the door so he can't hear us. Beautiful. In the game, I can explain this. In the game of 3 things, we're gonna get a sport. We kind of have a sport hat going on here. Mario's, anyways, is driving a sport. Can you do that in like the Olympics, like fast driving? I'm not from Indianapolis. Anyways, we're gonna get a sport, and then we're gonna take a couple things that are used in that sport and change them to other things. And that's the game. And then he's gonna guess it. They're gonna come back in. They're gonna communicate it to him without speaking, only with their miming and their gibberish. So let's start out. Give me a sport that is like semi-common.
Cricket!
I'll take rugby. Yeah, rugby. And I don't even really know the answer to this question. What's an item that would be used in rugby? There's a ball. Yeah, I'm sure there's a ball. And what is something that would be absurd to use as the rugby balls?
A duck.
Oh yeah, a porcupine. Instead of a ball, I'm using a porcupine. What's something else that's in rugby? It could be like the area they play in. It could be
The cleats.
What is the goal in rugby? Is there like a
The try line.
It's just like in football.
The try line.
But Australian. Okay. Yeah, the end zone. But instead of the end zone, what has replaced the end zone? Could be like a location, could be another object. I'll take, I lost it in my brain. A swimming pool. I'll take swimming pool. You just dive right in. And what's a final thing that would be there in rugby? Could be a person, could be an object. The president. Oh, I'll take cleats. I like cleats. The cleats of the rugby players are exchanged for what? For uniforms. Cleats you wouldn't normally buy your feet. Yeah, mac and cheese. Mac and cheese. Okay, will you review for us the suggestions we have?
Yes.
We've got the game of rugby.
And the ball is replaced with a porcupine.
The end zone is replaced with a pool.
And who needs cleats when you have macaroni and cheese?
Let's call Davin back in with a shout of, "We love you, Davin!" 1, 2, 3.
We love you, Davin! And I love you all.
Oh, give him a hand. Players, are you ready for the game of 3 things?
Come we go.
That's enough time, Davin. You are. What do you think? Enlighten us. What do you think was going on there?
Okay, so we were playing rugby.
Give him a cheer if he gets it right.
You replaced the ball with something. It was a porcupine. Then we replaced the field goal and touchdown area. I don't know what it's called in rugby.
I don't either.
Let's call it that, the touchdown area. We replaced it with a swimming pool. We took the cleats.
Yes.
And replaced them with a cheese soup.
What might you call a chunky cheese soup?
Like noodles.
Mac and cheese?
Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, every man's head is bigger than mine. Oh no. It's okay. That was beautiful. That was lovely. But you know what I want to see is more hats. You want to see more hats? This is the premiere of a very brand new hat-themed game. Give us a cheer. We did it just for you, my favorite audience. This is the game of changing hats, and I need Kade, Bryce, and Andrew, players to the front. In this game called Changing Hats, each of these players, as is normal for the scenes in the show, will be wearing a hat. But what's a little bit different is that any point during the scene, I can tweet my whistle, at which point these three men will have to throw their hats up in the air and get a different hat. They will then have to assume the character that was being played by the person wearing that hat. So they switch each other's characters based on what hat they're wearing. Changes the character that they're playing in the scene. It'll make sense, I promise. Excellent. Well, for this game of changing hats, let's get a suggestion. Let's get another location. Just what's any old location? I'll take hairdresser. Hairdresser. Players, are you ready for the game of changing hats with the suggestion of hairdresser?
Yes!
Oh, honey. We're gonna have to take it all out.
Ow! I just wanted a little off the top.
We'll take a little, and then we'll You're becoming more attractive by the moment.
Oh, I love what you're doing. I can't even notice the pain anymore.
I'll just keep it the door.
Well, that's a mighty fine cut you've got there.
I know, it's all gone.
Wow. Never seen something like that.
He's a miracle
Oh,
worker.
it keeps getting better. Yeah. Anyway, here's my number. Oh, thanks. Anyway,
Actually, no, Sonny.
I'm Jim.
I do couple cuts.
Oh, I like the sound of this. Don't worry, the love scene's big enough for the two of you. Boy.
Wait.
He's keeping it.
I got this hair from my grandmother. I can't just give it away.
Your grandmother. Another strand of DNA.
Well, my grandmother always told me never to let stand that which was done wrong to you or your hair. Specifically the hair.
It's too late. I'm too powerful. I got all the hair.
No.
I'll weave a hat out of it all. And with this, no one can stop me.
Wait, we have no hair. His hair powers have no power over us.
No, the loopholes.
we do have a couple of helmets, so I'm quite glad they picked the softer hats for that scene, which was quite entertaining, quite fun, quite beautiful. Next up, we have a game called, ooh, yes. Who here has read Cat in the Hat? Raise your hand. Who here loves the book Cat in the Hat? Raise your hand. You're gonna see it right now, kind of, in the game of Seuss Interrogation, which uses Andrew, Logan, and Bryce. And I need one of them to leave. Say bye, Logan, in his new hat with his tag. Someone went all out for the preparation for this show. All right, in the game of Seuss Interrogation, much like in all of our collective favorite book, Cat in the Hat. Cat in the Hat, say hi, Cat in the Hat. Hello, it's kind of it's a creepy premise when you think about it. He just comes to their house, doesn't he?
Well, he helps clean, and well, he messes it up first, and then he cleans it. It's not
Well, so it's net neutral. It's still stranger
That's me.
than Anyway. You're neutral. Excellent. Well, these two lovely players will be Seussing it up here today in a game of interrogation, which is a guessing game where the criminal is trying to figure out, based on how the interrogation is going, what the crime was, who he did it with, and what the motivation behind it was. So these lovely two people will be giving those clues to him throughout the interrogation, but they will be doing it only in the form of rhymes, and the criminal can only respond in the form of rhymes. It's very fun. It's very cool. It's one of my very favorite games that we play. And so I'll put this down, and we will get those three things. The first thing we need is a crime that's not actually a crime, but it like bothers you, you know? When people stand up early on planes. I'll take it back. I like that over there. Hey, when you stand up early on the plane. Like, it's not time to get up and stand up, you know? Next, let's get an accomplice. What's a fictional real character? Could get a little too much. What's a character who maybe wouldn't go on a plane? You wouldn't expect it. Moses. It's Moses. That's excellent. That's so good. And finally, what's a motivation for doing a crime that has nothing to do with the two things we've just decided? Hunger. Murder. Tell me like maybe something, yeah, what happened? Oh, very specific. Give me more. Oh, I like that, to solve world hunger. To solve world hunger. Will you review for us the three suggestions, please?
Stood up too early in my lane
With Moses.
so that he could solve world hunger.
Beautiful. Well, let's call Logan back in with the call of criminal. 1, 2, 3. Criminal! And give him a cheer as he comes inside. Players, are you ready for the game of Seuss Interrogation?
Yes. Now that we've caught you and have you in cuffs, we'll get a confession, and it won't be tough.
No, I've done no crime and I'll pay no penance. I won't accept it, whatever your sentence.
A psychologist, that's what you need. Tell us what you did, that nefarious deed.
You see, last week on Tuesday night, you went on a trip and took a long flight.
Your actions will lead you certainly not to heaven, those things that you did on that 717.
Now don't lock me up, don't send me to a farm just because I tampered with that smoke alarm. You may be intimidating, but I don't fear it, so help me if I was flying spirit.
The plane's aeronautics were fine, that's not needed. But you didn't follow orders when they said to stay seated.
We'll get it in writing right here in a minute. It was your fault that you were just too impatient.
Now, tell us the truth. What have you got to say? We have evidence, all the people you got in their way.
I'm sorry, I'll sing this cruel song. So what if I didn't listen when the speaker went boom? I don't understand how I crossed a line if I stood right up when the seatbelt was signed.
And stand up you did after they landed. But We got you on camera. You're caught red-handed.
You see, everyone in front of you was already in line. You didn't need to go, and you could have bided your time.
Now I know there in prison my hair will be curly, so help me if I just stood up a bit early.
Well, once we get your accomplice, we'll have a good laugh, because at least you didn't do it with that golden calf.
Now, I may have done this thing way up in the air, and there's no one I did it but with my brother Aaron.
You tell us the truth or you'll be needing a medic. We know that your friend was much more prophetic.
The plane had the O-rings, they had all the hoses, but one thing was missing was my good boy Moses.
Well, we're almost finished, but one more thing you need to give. We only lack your motive.
We know that you're kind, your thoughts, they were mild. Perhaps you felt bad for the African child.
You won't get a word, no, you won't take me alive. You know that in prison I never could thrive.
Well, listen here, I'll give you the cinch. I think I'm just feeling a bit peckish.
You'll fit in prison, yes you will, my dude. They too understand what it feels to lack food.
Well, you see, you thought you'd solve this conundrum with something I call the whiff-laugh bludgeon.
How long have you been planning this? Was it since birth? You're trying to help the entire Earth?
Now I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm sat in this chair without a doubt. Now all this sentence you give me, it isn't so fair, but I'm fairly sure it has to do with the Sahara.
Oh no, it's much larger. Now give us the twirl. Did you try to bring corn and beans to every man, boy, and girl?
So what if I love all the lads and the lasses? I just wanted to bring all the food to the masses.
Prophets together on an airplane, like how they would deal with that. I don't know, just like looking down on the world. I'm sure it's a.
That's why people go.
Yeah, exactly. That was a beautiful image. But at least we fed all the masses. All right. Well, let's move along now to the last game of this half of the show. This is also a lovely, wonderful game that I love, called Dime Store Novel, for which I need Robert, Bryce, Logan, and Davin to the front! Ooh, I want this cow hat. This is good. In the game of Dime Store Novel, Robert, I believe, will be acting as our author for what's called a dime store novel. It feels like kind of an antiquated term. It's like back in the day, before inflation or whatever, you could like go to the store and get like a crusty paperback for a dime, I guess. And so we're gonna pretend that we're in that time. We're gonna get a title of a book that's never been written, and Robert's gonna write it for us with these three lovely people acting as the characters in the book to provide some dialogue. This half of the audience again, give me a title for a book that's never been written and is not a parody of an existing book.
Betty and the Backbiters.
Yes. Yes, they are. Betty and the Backbiters. Betty and the Backbiters is the title of this book. Players, are you ready for the game of Dime Store Novel?
Yes!
The story just isn't working. I think I need to restart. Betty and the Backbiters, Chapter 1. It was a cold winter day. She put on her sweater. Betty didn't like being alone in a log cabin, but she felt like there was something better out in the world. I've been listening to too much rhyming. Anyway, Betty was lonely. It had been 10 years since she'd even seen a boy. But she so desperately hoped that one day, one might. A knock at the door. Who could it be?
Hey, I'm just the local love.
A boy! Oh my gosh, that's what they look like!
I forgot how a boy looked like.
Maybe I should let him in.
Maybe I should let him in.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Hey, I'm just the local lumberjack.
No, shut it again! He's far too attractive. Betty ran to her room. It was time to make sure she looked good. Betty began to describe all the things she liked to wear to woo men.
Sweaters, shoes.
Maybe a woman should have wrote this story. You know what, we'll just skip that part. Let's go to chapter 3. John worked in the supermarket. It was the only supermarket within 30 miles of Betty's place. But he had seen her every day, except for today, the first day back. John was concerned, and that's when his friend, the dude holding a bag in the first chapter, walks in. I'm gonna need a name for this guy. For now, we'll just call him Dude Holding the Bag.
Dude holding the bag, how's it going?
Going great. Holding the bag still.
Something looks suspicious about the dude holding the bag. You know what, let's just call him Dude. Something looks suspicious about Dude today.
Hey, dude, is your bag heavier?
No, it's just the same way it's always been.
A scream from the bag.
Same way it's always been.
Another scream from the bag. No, that's not a sound a girl would make. Let's try this again. That's about what my wife sounds like.
I can't help but notice there was somewhat of a scream that just came from your bag.
It's alright, but not catching sparrows.
Luckily, John totally trusted Dude. And instead of worrying about the bag, decided to ask if he'd seen Becky lately.
Now, not that I care or anything, but
But he definitely can.
there's this lady who comes in somewhere. Her name is Becky. Becky.
Oh, I can't even remember my own character. I'm gonna have to rewrite those chapters.
She goes by both.
Let's just skip to chapter 10, the big showdown. Backbiter! Backbiter, yelled Becky. Oh, what was her name again? Yo, Betty!
Betty!
This is what happens when you write and speak out loud at the same time. Backbiter! Backbiter!
Backbiter, for my mother always called you men.
Yeah, Betty, but I have an axe and abs. So I can do what I want.
I really gotta work on Dude's motivation.
I knew I should have worn sweaters today.
Just at that moment, A creak in the floorboards. They rip up and John looks down.
Oh, John! Are you looking for a lumberjack? Or maybe a lumber John?
John grabbed her and pulled her up, but Dude stared back.
The time for you backbiters is over, Jack!
And in that moment, John ripped off his shirt. Blinded, Dude fell to the floor.
So many abs for just a store clerk!
Next!
Well, I think we all know what happens next. Skip to chapter 11. Just like chapter 1, Betty stands alone in a log cabin, staring out in the distance. And she looks up with a smirk. She's not alone anymore. John comes in completely shirtless.